Hello and welcome to the Streamcast. It's your boy Troy, and today is the final episode actually of Saturday Morning with Us. I know, you're sad. But in today's episode, I decided I want to give something, so just talk at you. And today I'll be discussing branding. I noticed branding is an issue for so many people, so I decided to, like I said, give back and just go through quickly about not branding per se, but the visual part of branding. This video is mostly for gamers, but can be used by any other content creator. So to start off with branding, normally your brand is how you are perceived by the public. It is not limited to your colors or typography, and this is why we have this first page here, because in order to be technically style ready, you need a mission, a vision, target audience, a personality, and core values. Now if you're a content creator, this is probably just you, so your kind of personal mission, what you see, what you want to do. You probably have a target audience, which is probably just people like you. It tends to be the case. Brand personality is you, and your core values, whatever they may be. I won't get into this too deep. You know this. I think if you're a gamer, you have the advantage, especially on your own, is not needing this as much. Have a think, but don't overthink, I think. And that came from Black Girls Gamers, and it's a very good comment to make for branding, because it can be quite overwhelming. I think most of you are at a point where you just want to do you, and I think that's all you need to do. You have a mission, your personal one. Some brands, as we have seen, have a mission, whether it be getting more black people into gaming, or kind of pushing representation within gaming, getting more of their favorite games out there, whether it be Call of Duty or indie gaming. You could have your kind of individual mission and vision. Your target audience can depending on the games you create and the games you play. I mean, you could be an adult and go for a very young market, which would change your tone. If you're good at that, you can present like that, and obviously that would inform your brand personality and whatever core values you have, or in some cases don't have. Some people's values are more about free speech, and that can be toxic depending on the way they do it. Some people's values of this space is more where people belong. So as a gamer, that is down to you, but you have probably an advantage over, say, even us as Streamcast, where it's 4 people have to come together and kind of make sure this brand is aligned, as opposed to you and your own doing your own thing. This is your kind of baby. That's what I'm going to say on that. And we're going to move on actually and look at a few guides. As you can see, I've got all my tabs set up for you, so I just went over the camera. Cool. So style guides, technically speaking, branding is kind of the first point in which people see you. I did quite a bit of work on our logo, which we got touched up, but within that, and I'll explain why I got to logos later on, but within that, it was first for me what was striking and how it will be used. You may notice the colors change depending on the month, so we've got our black one for Black History Month and our pink one for Women's History Month, and those are kind of the areas in which we target. But anyway, brands are different, everyone does different things, and that's just what we decided to do. So I got Medium, the kind of newspaper place, and I'm going to skip over some stuff because it's about their brand and their principles and all the things they want to share. But I think what's interesting is the logo, and for a lot of you, I think the thing is, what do you want to do with your logo? I think when it comes to logos, I particularly like, there's quite a few brands, I would say, in gaming. I've been a fan of Nate Saga's branding overall, and the logo, I think, it's not just aesthetically pleasing, it speaks to you about what it is. As soon as you see it, you think gaming, and sometimes that's what you need to do. Sometimes a clean version works, but we'll talk about that later. So Medium, as you can see, they're very set in how their brand is used, and I think it's important for you to think like that. You can have a main color, which for them is black and white, but you can see how it interchanges here. They bring in the green, which is their third color, and then obviously when you're on photos and stuff, they just reduce the opacity of the background and keep it to the white and black, which is quite clever. And you can see here, this is their kind of choices of colors. We're going to go into colors next. which is a medium dark, as you can see. That's what that means, and a medium white, but one specific solid green, and that's the kind of colors of use. There's also typography. They always do that. You just paste into random words of the titles you want, and that will probably be used on flyers, your website. In our case, it's kind of pitch decks and things like that, and so everything is consistent when a brand sees it. They use Freight Sans. I'm going to be honest, I think there's like 2 to 3 main fonts that big brands use. I think you can find it or search it, so I wouldn't overcomplicate fonts. We're going to go into that later on, but you could probably just find Google fonts. Is there anything from here that I want to show? How it looks in different interfaces, of course, because they're specifically for mobile, but you might not need to think about that, because obviously it's the kind of work they do. And icons, again, you might not need to think about that, but for them it's quite important. I wanted to bring up another one because theirs is quite dark and this is quite colourful, so I just want to show you how colours can be used. So this is Love to Ride, despite company people think this was the magazine. So same thing, guidelines. You also don't need to do this straight away, and I believe once you get to a certain point you can pay someone to do this, but just to show you how people visualize their brands. So this is Love to Ride brand. You can see their colors and the usage of colors, quite beautiful, and you can see how it complements each other, and I like that. Off the top of my head, I don't know the color wheel, so I can't tell you why they work, but if I did, I would. Cool. I'm just skipping through. I think this page is one thing I noticed, how the bikes kind of move across, and again it's very effective because it shows how their brand is. This is what I'm going to say about this, because we are about to jump into the section for you. I just want you to see some brand guidelines and how brands kind of think and focus and what they kind of present, and this is all around their kind of values, like the colors, how bold it is, how it's even positioned, or what we thought about in this. But for you, you're a gamer and you've gone through loads and loads of all these branding guidelines and you just wanted to make it as simple as possible. Come to the right place. So, colors. Do not overcomplicate colors. Very simple. I always say to people when they're picking colors, pick your favorite color and then work around it. Then you can use the kind of color scheme to do so. So you got your complementary, which is kind of the opposites. You got your analogous, which I didn't know. I just called it for colors that are kind of side by side in tones. And remember, your color wheel can be more extensive than that. So it could be instead of the purple, that blue, and the lighter blue, it could be 3 different tones of blues that we keep using. We do it for Streamcast. We use a really dark red, but we brighten up the reds and then use a black and a white. Or it could be triadic, so using kind of equally spaced triangle on the color wheel. My favorite brand for this personally is Nerd Council. You should check it out. I believe their blue and their red go really, really well together. It's a little bit opposite-ish. It's more kind of like the triadic without the oranges coming through, but it works really, really well and it's quite clever, and I like that for their colors. If you are stuck, Adobe Color. It is a free tool. What you got to do is dash in a color. You can find the hex somewhere, I believe. I mean, it gives you them here. You pick this first one and then you can pick the colors around it. So you could do monochromatic, which gives you all the blues from that first blue, triad, which we saw, so these will all complement each other quite well. Complementary, I don't need to go into the rest. And you can also view trends as well. I'm going to be honest, stay away from trends if it's not to support you for a color wheel. Other things it can help and it can kind of guide you, but for a color wheel is completely useless. If you are struggling, literally, it didn't work. 1 second. Look, I'm not even going to bother looking in, this is just all long. If you have a Pinterest account, go into your phone, literally just type in color, and what it does is it shows you kind of different colors. This is if you're a complete loss about what you want, and then you can see, oh, this kind of color range works best for me. I might have to do this on my phone for you to believe me, and then we'll go from there. Fonts. So fonts is next. I always say to people, keep it basic, keep it simple. I think the colors are as important as the font, and as you've seen from particularly Medium, that big M works for them, but that's more of a logo thing. It's more that complements. So if your logo is different, have a think about what font you want, or what really expresses you. But for your text, I'm not even gonna lie to you, most people probably use Open Sans, or what was the first one, Roboto. Is just kind of easy to read. So when it's your style guides, your pitch decks and your one pages, this is what you go to. So across whatever you send, it's the same font. And the beauty of this is, especially these kind of fonts, which is like Google fonts, is you probably find the majority of them on your Canvas and your Google Docs. I'm using them in case you don't have a Microsoft Word or package, because I think it's always better to use the free stuff because it's free. So you can just find it, and anyone can use it. It's translatable. So if you're going to then a designer, you wouldn't oppose to design because you're not at that level yet. This is the font we use. This is the kind of size. This is the style. You know, go for it. And if I'm correct, no, I'm not. I am correct. It tells you what this font can be paired with. So for your headings and stuff, it doesn't have to be the exact same, but it shows you. So for instance, Montserrat and Roboto go together perfect. And you can see, I believe this is the header and that's the paragraph, and you can see it works really well. So Google Fonts is your best friend. Use it, see what you like. Go to pairings as well. Boom, you got them both. When you need something designed, send them to the designer and you can download the family if you need to, and like you need to import into like a Photoshop or something, like I said, or even a Premiere Pro if that's your thing. And I'm just waffling, so let me stop. Oh no, yeah, Premiere Pro, Photoshop, anything if you're making your own stuff. And again, any designers that need to see it and need to know, so I just have to double check, any designers that need to see it and need to know, just send it through to them. They have got it. Logos. So a lot of people don't, I mean, you can take a look at the Streamcast logo. I think I'm not even going to really highlight it, but it was based on a design trend, but it was older than the year that we were made. So what I tend to do is I look at trends. I stay away from big brands. I look at trends and see what works for me, and it was turning letters into figures. So what I did was I turned the S, the Streamcast, actually into a controller, and in the buttons, instead of the A, B or X square, it's cast, so C-A-S-T, and that's our logo. Happy with it. A lot of people liked it, and they actually chose to put up a lot of things, and it was better than having a face, because obviously there's 4 of us, so it's a bit different. You can have a face, or you can do what I did and just look at top 10 logo trends. Now I did 2021, but I'm going to be honest with you, this is just to give you an idea of what you like, again, so you can discuss with a designer. It does not need to be anywhere near as complicated as something like this. If you really like it, but I don't think you need that. I don't think that maybe you're feeling it. Something like that. I think these are really cool for tech. It's just simple geometry. I'm gonna be honest, like that could be your face in that kind of style, or if you're representative of the black community or black women particularly, or any person, you could represent them like that. I really like that actually. I'm not sure about the Lemon Rock writers, but someone paid for that, so they must love it. Not really selling me there, but you might be inspired. So we've got gradients here. Oh, that's beautiful. So again, if your colors work really well together, gradient it out. Retro seems to come every 2 years or so, and it just develops a little bit more. So retro is your thing, go for it. Obviously it's hand drawn. Thin lines is a good one, and it's a very clever one. I believe you can do it in places like Wix as well, so it's quite transferable. And it does speak. It speaks to me, so I'm just gonna skip overlapping and doing typography. I mean, okay, cool. Abstract logos, they're really good, but they're normally for broadcasters and yeah. If you have multiple colors, they work really well. So maybe abstract is something to think about. Yeah, like really make that controller abstract, guys. Symbolic shapes. I'm not going to do animated. Symbolic shapes work really well. So as you can see, it's not really complicated. So if there's something about you that really stands out, whether it is your hair, glasses that you wear, jewelry that you have in your hand, use it, and it's symbolic, because when people see it, they think of you, and that's what you want. You just want it to link to your brand. So to wrap this up, I also want to talk about channels, because obviously that is a big decision for you as a gaming content creator to make. So maybe if you're not in the gaming field, you can just like, share, subscribe, and leave at this point. But if you're in the gaming, one of the things I realized in the beginning, even though we're a team of 4, is for all the channels available, it can be quite overwhelming. So depending on your goals, my advice is this: always advise people, if you're building community, there's no better space than Twitter. If you're not a Twitter user, then there's Facebook. I think those two are kind of interchangeable. You don't need both. So I would say Twitter as a preference, because you can meet a lot of industry people. They're always talking. If that is your goal, and a lot of people on there just make comments and stuff. A lot of people on there just make comments and talk about different things. People come together, especially in this digital world now. A lot of us speak about all the big kind of gaming conventions. I'm trying to think of the name, E3, and PlayStation's one, which I forget, and Nintendo Live, and all these other ones we speak about on Twitter. So it's a good way to get in with your community. So Facebook, Twitter. Next, I feel all the others depend on your strengths. So once you got your Facebook, Twitter, then it's your Instagram or TikTok. I say, depending on who you are, go for TikTok. You can just retake content from the next two I suggest, and it's the fastest growing platform. But if you're really good at pictures and you believe you're lame, use Instagram to your advantage. It's pretty much lifestyle page. It has enough content for you, so long as you don't stick to just gaming on Instagram. I suggest you go for that. But if not, gaming is what you're thinking about, you're just gonna go hard on it. TikTok for you. The reason why I'm saying one or the other is just to help you kind of manage, because it can be overwhelming. But I do say to most people, if you're starting gaming, even if it's just one page and you might not be used to it, Twitter, because you can find your community pretty quickly on Twitter. Or if you're creative, I guess TikTok. But Facebook or Twitter, TikTok or Instagram. And lastly, where are we making our content? Twitch or YouTube or Facebook. See, now if you've got your community on Facebook, it's easy to have all in one. So I'd say go to Facebook Gaming as well and just have it all on one platform. The only problem with that is when one thing goes down, you're finished basically. So say your Instagram, Facebook and Facebook Gaming, there's a problem at Facebook. You can't reach your community unless you've built up a newsletter or Discord, but that's down to you afterwards. This is just like a Kickstarter. Most people would use Twitch or YouTube. YouTube Live, I've noticed a lot of people get subs really quickly if you're consistent. And again, you just range the content. On Twitch is a bit harder to grow, and obviously depending on who you are, it can be very toxic, but it's available too. So it's all about weighing those choices. So yeah, that is it from me. I don't want to go on too much, and I'm sorry, you see, there's a trouble when you content create. You should have my daughter in the background. The beauty of I know I've lost myself. I'm wrapping up. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you got something from it. I'm always open to speak about branding and support where I can. I will not be doing logos and all that kind of stuff for you, because I'm no longer in that game, even if it's paid, because I feel like it's very personal and you need an experienced graphic designer over a long period of time. The reason why it worked for me in Streamcast, because I have that background and obviously I am attached to Streamcast, so it was fun to bring that alive. But if you saw those other initial designs, you would scream. She saw the other initial designs, as you can hear. But thank you so much. Please like, subscribe, and share. I'm not forgetting anything, am I? You can chat to me, like, subscribe, and share. Check out our content. At the time this has been released, I believe we would have finished filming our quiz. Jeez, I'm gonna go check on that. I believe we'll finish filming our quiz, so we're recording it on Twitch, so check it out on the playback. And aside from that, have a lovely Saturday. Thank you for going with us on this Saturday morning with Streamcast journey. And yeah, if you want to, please buy me a new arm. The Elgato one is amazing, and a new mic, because this just keeps picking up sound that doesn't exist, except for that sound that is very clear. I am wanted. I'm going to go. Have a great morning.